Welcome everyone back to another wonderful episode of Marginal at Best. Man, hey, Robbie's already enjoying it. He's enjoying himself.
Just so you know, everybody, we're envisioning Kelly without all this, but keeping the mutton chops. We're going to put a monocle on him, a top hat, high starch collar. He'll look like a little railroad baron from the 1800s.
But you're I can't even cover it all. I got too much. Inside shot looks like a monocle. Huh? How you doing? Anyway. How's Robbie?
Not too bad today. I guess that's coming out. That's where his phone's going off all day long today.
Well, you're doing something very important, so they'll have to wait. Yep, welcome to Marginal at Best, a little podcast that could. We're starting to grow, so it's actually kind of cool. So thank you everybody who's out there listening to us. Yeah, like I said, we have 2 listens, one from Canada and one from Brazil.
Shout out to Brazil. I wonder if it was Rio or where in Brazil.
I don't know, but it's so cool. I mean, it's cool as hell that I looked it up and that somebody actually in Brazil listened to one of our podcasts. That makes I'm telling you, that just makes me smile. And it's somebody in Canada, eh? Somebody in Canada, eh? Listen to us. Don't touch me there, eh? There you go. Wait, take off, hoser. That's the only Canadian thing I know is Bob and Doug McKenzie's Strange Brew.
Strange Brew. That's your cultural reference to Canada right there.
It's a funny ass movie. It's stupid and funny. I mean, it was Wayne's World.
Early 80s,
it was Wayne's
mid
World
80s.
I don't know, but it was Wayne's World before Wayne's World. I mean, that was Bob and Doug McKenzie, the Great White North. But if you're new to the podcast, we're basically just 2 schmucks or schmoos.
You just noticed that.
No, I saw that. I saw that when you first logged in. I was like, schmoo.
You do remember Shmoo, don't you?
Which one was schmoo?
He's like the little white blob. He had no arms, just had feet, could stretch himself all different shapes and stuff. And all he said was, Shmoo.
Oh, schmoo. I thought it was one that went. That was the yellow thing from Thundar, wasn't it?
Not Thundar. That was the other thing from Herculoids.
Herculoids.
Shmoo looked kind of like those, but he's all white, short, and always smiled.
Because that other thing on Herculoids, like I think, is.
You had the Triceratops. Had the Triceratops that could shoot the little things out of its horn in front of its head and everything.
But it just thinking about that, the character would make some garbly fucking sound, and they would always know what the hell they were saying because they could instantly translate it. But then I saw a video the other day, and I guess the way they shot it, it was Star Wars. It was The Empire Strikes Back. And the way it was shot was Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca.
Mm-hmm.
He actually spoke his lines. He would speak his lines. Like when Han asked him, when Han Solo would ask him a question, he would answer with a line. And then that way, I guess Harrison Ford knew what to say back.
So then they just kind of re-record over with the Chewie growls and stuff?
I guess they just did all that in post-production. But you literally see Peter Mayhew in the whole Chewbacca get-up talking normally to Han.
Well, I saw it was scenes with Darth Vader. Yeah, the actor David Prowse, who played Darth Vader. him actually talking. He's speaking the lines, all the Darth
Yeah.
Vader lines, all the movies, and you're watching and going, that just does not sound right.
Like I said, it was pretty cool that they, like I said, you just see Hans, and there's like when they had those scenes where they're trying to fix the Millennium Falcon on Hoth,
Yeah.
and you hear Han yell something, and you hear Mayhew yell something back, and I'm like, that's not okay. Anyway, all right. So last week we were talking about muscle cars and what cars are dream cars if we had unlimited funds, which prompted going into looking up muscle cars. Period. And I printed out a very comprehensive list, starting out with the 60s. And this episode, we're just going to kind of look at the 60s. But what's cool is this thing I printed says, what was the first muscle car? What was the first muscle car? Mr. Brainiac, Mr. Computer Man, Mr. Smarty Pants. What was it?
Be considered a muscle car?
For £1,000, what was the first muscle car?
The Tucker. I don't know.
The what?
Remember the Tucker?
No. Hang on a minute. Where is it? Oh, I lost it. Rats. Nope, I don't have it.
The Rats? I don't remember that one.
Now, according to this article I printed, it said opinions of when the muscle car era began vary. The 1949 Oldsmobile Rocket 88 is often cited as the first muscle car, closely followed by the Hudson Hornet. And that was in 49. And then it says Chrysler then came out with the 1955 C100. The C100 stood out from the crowd. Not only was it fast, it possessed unmatched handling. And Chrysler advertised it at the time as America's most powerful car. And it says the original muscle cars boasted, are you ready for this? 135 horsepower. Morning, Chewy. Yes, puppy dog. So not much by today's standards. He goes, by the 70s, they were pushing 450. So, but, yeah.
You got me curious about something now.
Oh, come here. Come here. That good girl. Puppy dog. Come here. Stop. Now. Come here. Mother, I'm recording. Not that it really matters. I mean, the production quality of our podcast is unmatched. But no, like I said, according to this article, and this is muscle car history, this article. So, and again, you're probably going to have, you'd probably have a million different answers to what was the very first muscle car. Because then you're going to be like, well, what is your definition of muscle car? Is it horsepower? Is it styling? Is it handling? Because I imagine they had race cars back then, but the first real muscle car. Like I said, it says
you mentioned that you talk about the first muscle car, and the first thing that popped in my mind. Well, so the original, like NASCAR. What was NASCAR originally? What were the drivers what became NASCAR? What were they? You remember?
They were that was the thing about NASCAR, because they were originally they were shine, they're running shine.
Exactly. And I was thinking the cars that they ran moonshine with.
But the thing is they all had so many different cars from there was not a set template for a race car. I mean, you had everything from, every manufacturer, but there again, I don't think you can really nail down what they would determine a muscle car was, because those guys were hot rodding them.
Well, that's what I would have thought that they would have chosen as the first muscle cars. Those, because they could hot rod them, they could make them into something faster than the cops and everything else.
I'm guessing that this article, they're talking about the first off the line production. This car was considered the most powerful. Like I said, they said the 55 C100 Chrysler advertised it as America's most powerful car. So I guess with that moniker, you would say, okay, that's the first quote unquote muscle car. But like I said, NASCAR,
production muscle car.
again, and basically NASCAR started because all the shiners wanted to see who was the fastest.
Yeah.
They're all like, I got the fastest car. No, I got the fastest car. Well, let's go put it on the track and see. Yeah, and then they started racing them around. Then they became a sanctioned organization. So, but yeah, I mean, they were all just shiners. I mean, they found what was under Martinsville here a couple months ago. They found old shiner tunnels under the racetrack.
Really?
Yeah, where they had hid their shine. Old bootlegger tunnel they found under Martinsville. I think it was Martinsville. It was Martinsville because they just raced at North Wilkesboro. So it was either Martinsville. It was one of the short tracks somewhere. They found some bootlegger tunnels. They found a bat cave.
Well, I was reading an article about the Plymouth Fury. Used to be the 65 Fury used to be one of the big ones for running shine and stuff like that, running illegal moonshine. And they were talking about what it would do coming off the factory, but that was 65. So that was a little bit further in. That's after some of the what you consider muscle cars now. It was a little bit later and before they come out. They came out after a lot of those.
Well, like again, you want to talk about, you look at Camaros. When the Camaros came out, you had the aftermarket like Yanko who would get the car literally as soon as it rolled off the assembly line, and he would take it to his shop, and then he would soup it up, and he'd charge you extra $5,000-$10,000, however much it was at the time, to buy something that came off with 200 horsepower, and he was done. It had 400 horsepower.
Yeah.
However much modification, and that's just the thing, is that's what people did. They wanted their cars. But then that's just like and I just saw a video about the Hertz Mustangs. Those Shelby Hertz Mustangs that they used to, literally, it was a race car you could rent. And Hertz had them for rent, and people would go rent these things. And you could rent a race car. But also remember, and I think it was Jay Leno talked about it, was Hertz would rent out these Hurst Mustangs. They had big engines, bad transmissions. I mean, they were badass cars. And what people would do is they would rent the car for the weekend. They would take it to their house, and they would swap the engines with their Mustang, and then take the car back to they would literally swap out the entire engine, transmission, and everything, and then take the car back on Monday and go, "Hup, there you go, click, there your keys, and run." Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff they used to do. But like I said, these were, so according to this, and I was just, and I'm gonna pull this up because these were the ones that I found that I thought were cool.
Yep.
Again, this is a 66 Chevelle. This is a 65 Olds Cutlass, which I hate to tell people, but these cars just look good. They're just good looking cars. I mean, they're what, 80 years old? 60 years old. 60 years old.
60.
A little under 60 years old, most of these cars. But again, this is when they didn't know what aerodynamics meant for most of these cars. Because most of these cars, this is 66 Ford Falcon. It's a brick.
Yep.
It looks like a brick, but it's a good looking brick. I mean, it's a good looking car. Now, of course, this is the Plymouth GTX. This is just a good looking car. I like this car. There's just something about that car that I just dig that hood line and that tail, that trunk. Mm-hmm. It just, you can ride. It just, it looks fast.
That's what draws your attention, is that tail on it.
But it looks fast just sitting there.
Yeah.
And the one thing I tried to find when I was looking at pictures for these cars is I wanted to find stuff that looked factory. because that's factory. I don't know if there's any modifications to the car, but it looks pretty damn factory, and it looks good. This is a 65 Skylark, and again, that's just a cool looking car.
Man, look at that window. That's
Yeah,
got to be a huge window in that thing. Or is it split? Okay, I see where the door line is. So there must be a split window.
yeah, but still, that's a
But
big gap.
it's still all window, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have that small window in the back. And they're probably hand crank, of course. But it's just
Yeah.
again, that's just a cool looking car. It's a good looking ride. I mean, it's not Corvette, it's not Camaro or anything, but it's just to me, it's just a good looking car. But again, it looks like a brick. And then this is the Buick Wildcat. Now this one, I like it. I wouldn't say no to it. But again,
But
it's just
not first choice, though.
no, but it's a good looking car.
It's a good looking car.
It's not.
Yeah.
But again, if you look, probably the same thing. I guarantee you that window right there might roll down. I don't know, but that's a big window gap.
Yep.
It's still a good looking car. And then, of course, Chevy Bel Air, which you and I were talking before we got on to the podcast about your buddy, Nate. Well, I can call Nate my buddy, but you knew him better than I did. They had a 4-door Chevy Bel Air.
Yeah. Had a 4-door.
But the thing is this Bel Air is not what people think of when they think of a Chevy Bel Air. They're in the 50s.
Right.
But we jumped into the 60s because the 50 Bel Airs are iconic.
Mm-hmm.
The 55 Chevy Bel Airs, the 56, 57, those are iconic. But this was a 60s version of it. But still not terrible. And this is Chevelle. This is Chevy Chevelle. Again, now you really can't tell the difference between the Chevelle and the Bel Air. They just put a different badge on it.
Well, the hood itself is a little bit different. If you look at the front
Yeah,
hood.
there's some small subtleties, but overall, pretty much the same. They probably use the same everything.
Same template, yeah.
Yeah, not very different. And this is an Impala, which of course looks like the other ones, except I think that rear fender looks a little stylish right there. But again, that's a good looking car. That just kind of looks hot rodish.
Yeah.
Now this is a Plymouth Barracuda, but this isn't the Plymouth Barracuda that everybody, I guess, really knows is a Barracuda. This is a 67 Plymouth Barracuda. But still good looking car. But now this car to me is starting to look more Mustangish in the back with that hatch. Or the my brain just went dead. It's not a hatchback. You know what I'm talking about. Fastback. It's got that fastback look.
Mm-hmm.
Then of course this is the Plymouth Roadrunner.
Yep.
Of course, got a Hemi. But again, this is straight off the factory. Yeah, you drove this off the showroom floor.
Even with the hood like that?
Yeah.
With two-tone hood with Hemi on it?
Yeah. That's how you knew it was a Hemi. But that's all the ones that I got. But now we can go into what you.
Well, I was looking up a couple, and I found that site and went, okay, these are all cool. So I got to bring this one up.
Yeah. So, Cadillac.
Yep.
I wouldn't baby. Yeah, but I wouldn't call it. It's not a muscle car in the sense of muscle car.
But it's iconic.
But yeah, you could kill somebody if you were backing up fast enough. You could kill somebody.
So we need to swing Carmageddon.
I got one on each fender.
Carmageddon.
Kick them. No. You couldn't impale somebody with those fenders. I'm dead. 61 Chevy Impala convertible.
Yep.
That's a good looking car. 61 Ford Thunderbird.
That one, yes.
I don't really. I'm not in. That doesn't do anything for me.
No, it's the look of it. With the way that front hood scoops down, you don't have a big, large grill like you have later in the '60s.
But still,
It's like they were trying to do like the Ford was trying to go. Okay, we need to make this a little more European.
well, I mean, it's not my cup of tea.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but it's still, I would pass on that one. Now, of course,
Of
63
course,
Stingray.
Yep.
Been there, done that.
Oh, the classic Aston Martin DB5.
Prepared to talk, Mr. Bond? Was it? Hey, you want me to talk? No, I want you to die. I give them some elaborate scheme, and then they'll be able to get out. And then I just assume they died. I go get a gun, bang, dead.
Let me tell you my scheme. Bang.
Yeah. Porsches look the same now as they did then.
Yeah, they're not much difference. I mean, it's a little bit of styling. That actually looks like it has more cab than what they have nowadays in them.
Now, quick story. Jay Leno got a call. Somebody had abandoned, or it was one of those situations where he gets a call from somebody who wants to sell the car. He goes, and the car parked in a garage out in L.A. in a parking garage for X number of years. He didn't do anything to it but clean it up and give it a tune-up. All original.
That's it?
Yeah. Tires and, he had new rubber, new gaskets, new this, new lines, all that stuff. But other than that, the car has the original paint. And he said once they cleaned it up, the paint was in really good shape.
Damn.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah. All right. 65 Chevy Bel Air.
Yep.
Of course, the iconic Mustang.
Mustang, yep.
Everybody knows Mustang. Now, this is a cool car.
Go.
It ain't a muscle car. It ain't a muscle car, but
it's got muscle. It's got muscle, but not a muscle car.
It's torque.
Yes.
It'll climb. But now here's the funny thing: is Tyler, they got one of these down at his dealership a couple years ago, and I was looking at the pictures of it online. There is no gauges in this thing. It had no gauges. I think it had. I don't even know if it was a tack. It didn't have a speedometer. I mean, I think it had a tack or something in the center of the console, and that was it. There was no other gauges. Nothing. It was stripped. And I mean, literally, you got seats, a shifter, pedals, steering wheel, and that's it.
Well, I mean, it's convertible. It's a Jeep. You're going to take it out in the woods. You're going to take it out in the mountains. You're going to take it out in the country. Mm-hmm. It's going to get rained in. It's going to get mud in it. And you just take it back, hose it out, and keep on going. Simple. Yeah. Keep it simple.
Yeah. I mean, they're cool. Jeeps are cool. Suicide doors. Lincoln Continental with suicide doors.
Yep. A boat of a car.
Not a muscle car, but just cool. Plymouth Barracuda.
Yep.
Now, again, iconic GT350.
Yes.
GT350. Now, this is right up your alley.
Yep, the Spider. But I really wouldn't consider it a muscle car either. It's just a roadster. It's just a cruiser.
It's a go-kart.
It's
a little bitty go-kart.
It's a Carmen Gee on steroids.
Cute little Italian roadster with perfect car for puttering.
Yes.
There's the Buick Wildcat.
Yep.
That's actually pretty cool looking one. Now this one I'd have to, even though, okay, so I was thinking about this because I saw this earlier, and now I'm thinking about the Thunderbird and this one.
Yes.
even though the styling is similar, quote unquote, this just looks cool. This is cooler than the
Okay.
Thunderbird. It just looks
66.
cooler than the Thunderbird.
Yeah.
I
But,
don't
you
know
know, the
why.
Thunderbird was what, 61, and this is a 66?
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, this is just a cooler car. It's just cool. Then, of course, Pontiac GTO. Now, this one, of course, is not all original. You can tell by the rims,
Yeah.
but it's still that GTO is a GTO. It's a cool car, but it's
Yeah.
not the GTO Judge that that's the big muscle car. So, of course, Camaro. You can't
Yep.
go wrong with a Camaro, and that's just a cool. I like that body. That's just a good looking body style.
That's an aggressive body style.
Yeah. Mercury Coupe.
The Coupe.
Underestimated. That one's definitely an underrated muscle car.
Yeah.
Because again, it looks cool. It's very Matchbox.
Well, it was a size. It was actually a little bit bigger than a Mustang, the 65 Mustang, but it wasn't quite big as the Camaro. It was kind of like that in between. You want something. You want something as aggressive as that Camaro, but not quite as large.
Yeah.
But
It's a cool car.
that front grill though,
That's weird. You'd have to double take that one looking down the road.
well, you wouldn't forget it.
No.
No, you wouldn't forget it.
It's just cool though. Of course, Firebird.
Yep.
Clone of the Camaro. Or the Camaro Firebird was a clone of the Camaro because the Camaro came out first, I believe. Yeah, it's Camaro's cousin. Whatever. Hippie.
There's
You
Lori
look
back in the
at
60s.
Yeah, but it looks sad. Look at the headlights. It just looks sad.
You know what it's saying? It's saying, meh,
Man.
meh.
Yes, they got a picture of me. Man.
I gotta go to the store. Meh.
You look Riviera. That looks like the Tornado with that front end.
Yep.
Looks exactly like it. I mean, come on.
I know it.
That's just a cool car. That's a badass ride. And not more badass than in John Wick 2
Yes.
when he was zipping around in that green one. That was just cool. And it hurts my soul when I see those cars get broke. You're like, no, stop it. Oh no, it was the first one. I'm sorry. It was John Wick 1 when he got the car, and then 2 he got his Mustang back.
Right.
Because they stole the Mustang, and he never got the Mustang back.
It was
Not in John Wick. Yeah, not in John Wick 1. It was John Wick 2. He got the Mustang back, but it didn't last but about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In the beginning. But yeah, it was the second one or the first one when he got that because he went to see John Leguizamo's character and got the Oldsmobile. Ford Torino. It's okay. Not much. There you go.
A Jaguar.
Jaguar, baby. Yeah. Nothing says pompous.
Look at that. Look at the rear. Look at the rear muffler. Look at the muffler coming out the back.
Yeah, I see it. It's just barely hanging on
there. Yeah.
That's just a bullet.
Were those rear engine or were those front engine?
No, they're front engine.
They're front engine? That's a long front
If you look on the hood, you can see the
vents. I see them now.
Vents right there. So that's a lot. Well, I mean, there's a lot of engine.
Yeah.
They put a lot of engine in those. Oh, yeah. Cutlass Supreme. Like a 442. It's a cool car.
There we go. It's Herbie.
It's the love bug. No car has. I don't think any car has been more modified than a bug. With the things you can do to a bug.
I consider what's in it. I mean,
Well, I mean, I want to get again. I think it was Leno was talking about somebody he knew took a Porsche 911 engine because it's a rear engine car and put it in a
yep.
bug and would take people's money because it's it's a bug gone. And of course, the iconic the Charger. 69 Charger. It's got to be orange with an 01 on it.
Yep.
I saw a picture. I saw a meme. It was a dude in a the stupid little mini cars.
What, the Coopers or which ones? Little smart cars?
No, not a Cooper. The little smart car. The little football. Looks like a skate. Dude painted it up just like the General Lee. And on the door it had 0.5. And on the top it said General Wee, W-E-E. There's the General. It's hilarious. But instead of the 01, it had 0.5. It was so cute. This one I don't think I've ever heard of. A dart swinger. I've heard of a dart, but never a dart swinger.
Yeah, never a dart swinger. I just that one was kind of threw me off also. But why swinger? What is it that makes it they call it a swinger? That's different from just a dart.
Long.
I like the rear green rim, but the front non-green.
Well, that's because it's got slicks on it. Those are drag slicks. Or Roadrunner.
Yep.
That's Alex's car, which is a cool car, and his car's cool. His car's just cool. That's a good looking Roadrunner.
Yep.
Challenger, of course.
Yep.
And probably one of the more famous Challengers was the one that Catherine Bach drove in the first season of Dukes of Hazzard.
And only the first season, because after that she got the Jeep.
Yeah, she got the Jeep.
Yeah.
She got was it a CJ or a Wrangler?
No, that would have been CJ's. That was long before the Wranglers.
Okay.
I remember it came out in 79 and it didn't come out in Wranglers till 83.
Yeah. And that's all of that list. So those are just yeah, some of those cars I don't care. I mean, again, when you compare that to now, it's like now everything is posh and interiors have to be this and they have to be that. But it's and they got an aerodynamic and they got to do 500 miles an hour. You know, back then it was just raw horsepower. You didn't have computers. You didn't have superchargers. You didn't have turbos.
It was carbureted. It was, you didn't have computer-controlled injection. You didn't have all that stuff. As you could get in, you'd take her with it on the weekend. You could take her before you went down the road. I mean,
you could actually, what's that word I'm looking for? Work on it?
Yeah. Without having to have a little handheld computer going, what does that error code mean?
Yeah.
The driver's an idiot. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, no kidding. But so that's kind of our 60s cars. So next time we do cars, we'll look at the 70s. But again, that's, I mean, I guess we need to dig up some 50s if we're going to get into those, like of course, the Bel Airs and things to that effect.
Yep.
But I really don't know if there were too many muscle cars or quote unquote muscle cars in the 50s. I'd have to look that up. We have to look that up.
They're all huge boats with large motors to them.
Yeah. So, but 60s, 70s. Then, like I said, the 80s is when everything went to shit because of emissions. Like, oh my God, you're polluting everything. Oh my God.
Not just that, but you had a lot of the big companies went to fleet cars. A lot of the same thing that were cheap to make.
And the gas thing, the whole gas thing. And, oh my God, run out of gas. Better ration everything, which is what they're trying to do now, but that's another story. But yeah, I'm happy to say that, like I said, we're the little podcast that could, and we're doing a little bit of growing. Like I said, we've been hurting Canada, eh? And I don't. You can do a Brazilian accent. I can't do one.
I can't do a Brazilian accent.
I don't even know what they sound like. But thanks for
Brazilians.
listening. Yeah, ha. So anyway, and like I said, the other cool thing is, like I told you, we've been listened to in 8 different states. Just cool. To think that people from
surprising people want to listen to us.
Well, but it's cool that, like I said, we're getting a little bit of growth. I mean, we're growing a little bit. It's actually the coolest thing ever. It's cool to see that something you're working on and something you're doing and something you're having fun doing is actually catching on. It's making waves, to say. But anyway.
Yeah, tune in, listen to us, babble about useless stuff, see how long our beards are getting, all that kind of stuff,
Well, I think, you and I talked about this before. Everybody's getting tired of hearing all the bullshit 24/7 because that's all you hear. People want to hear people. I mean, literally, it's like, I get to the point where I don't want to listen to the fucking news anymore because it's all the same shit.
I just want something different, something that's not so bloody serious all the stinking time.
That, and
so we discuss cars and cartoons and movies and
the thing is people of our age, they if you don't hear it, you're not thinking about it. And if you don't think about stuff in your past that used to make you smile, because that's like when I want to deep dive more into like games and stuff, because I couldn't tell you how many times, and not just like with Tyler and playing Gran Turismo, but sitting there in front of a TV playing Space Invaders for hours at a time, and just getting the more you did, the better you got, and the better you got, you were like, oh man, I got to, because then you're telling your buddies the next day because you weren't texting because you didn't have cell phones back then. But when you'd see your buddies, you'd be like, oh, what level did you get to? Oh, I got to level 22. What'd you get to? Oh, I got to level 30. Ah, shit, I got to go home and keep going.
Yep.
And then, because you had to try and beat your buddies. So back when life was simple and it was a lot more fun than it is now. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway. But yeah, like I said, I want to talk more. I want to deep dive into more video games. And actually, it's like that Merlin thing. Like I said, I gotta do some research on that because I vaguely remember it. Now, I don't know if I had one or if I had a friend who had one, but I do. After you showed me that picture, I do remember what it is.
I think I still got one down home.
That would be something. When are you going back down home?
When we go on vacation, remember I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm finishing up the week down there, so as I get down there, I'll see if it should be in my old closet, if I remember right.
If you find it, that will be
right beside. Hang on, wait. In my closet, right beside my from 1979
inflatable doll,
Hulk and Spider-Man action figures with actual cloth, cloth costumes and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still. My mom's kept them all those years. And I opened the closet door like, well, crap, they're still there. Believe
me. And the inflatable doll. You still got the inflatable doll?
Well, those are in a different closet. We're not going to discuss that closet. We only go in that certain closet at certain times.
Okay, just checking.
I have to replace the red bulb every. I called it Wilson. It was my best friend. Me, Wilson, and Merlin. What times we had. Hey, this movie might come in handy later. We do.
Yeah, I know, right? We never knew. All those years of playing Super Mario Brothers finally finally help out. Like we had the Super where you had two buttons and a D pad, and that was it.
Yep.
And it was
Sorry, you have one stick and a button.
button.
Unless you
Well,
played the Pong with the wheel. Yeah, the wheel and the trigger on the side.
we're gonna deep dive into those another day. But that's it. Yeah, I like talking about cars. I like cars. Cars are cool, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna keep talking about. We're gonna talk about cars some more later on. Like I said, I want to deep dive into like video games and movies. We really need to talk about movies, or no, actually TV. Let's talk TV shows. We haven't done TV shows.
We don't want to do 60s, 70s, 80s.
Start out with 70s, or do you want to start out in the 60s?
70s. Well, we could do. Well,
Because I'm trying to think. Because I mean, I really didn't. I mean, I was born in. You were born in '69, so it's not like we watched all the early
but
'60s.
no, but we saw a lot of TV shows from the 50s and 60s as reruns as
Oh
kids.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And grew up on a lot of those too. So, in a way, a lot of the, because remember, we only had 3 channels: ABC, CBS, NBC, and maybe PBS if the weather was right.
Yeah, if you got lucky, you got PBS.
And we got PBS because I had Charleston stations and Beaufort stations. And that's where I first started watching Doctor Who. You start getting some of the British stuff on there.
Yeah.
Tom Baker's Doctor Who. Watched it a lot. Paul Hogan's show.
Yeah.
The Paul Hogan show used to come on ETV on Saturday nights. Used to watch it. Hilarious.
Yeah, it's like Benny Hill.
Yeah, Benny Hill. Yeah, you see him. But reruns for us. I mean, Lone Ranger, the Lone Ranger reruns, Flipper, all of them, what was it? Not Sequest, 2000 Leagues Under, no. It's the one they were in a submarine and they always encountered some weird monster and all this stuff. I have to remember, I have to look up the name of it. But, these are all from the 50s and 60s.
We'll look up.
So, we could, but for the first run stuff for us that we remember was starting in the 70s.
Yeah, and then we'll go to the 60s because the best TV was the 80s. Period.
Yeah.
Some of the best stuff on TV that's ever been.
Cheesy.
A
lot of it was cheesy.
I'm gonna see if I can talk Mother into helping out with that episode.
Oh, we gotta get her on the air for that one.
Yeah, because she watched some TV. She's like, she remembers 3 channels.
Yep.
Hell, she never had cable.
Oh, until I got out of college, I had cable.
My dad, we had one of them big ass NASA satellite dishes in the backyard for a long time.
Yeah, my parents got that after I moved out. You could pick up everything, but you had to move the entire dish.
Yeah, you had 2. It was like you one that moved the dish, one that would tune it in. Yep, you had to tune it in. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Right now, we can get out of here.
Yep.
Been good. Like I said, we're growing. Thank everybody. YouTube. We're on, of course, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. I put it up on Facebook. I posted on X. I share and post stuff. I do a lot of sharing on Instagram, just stuff I find that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And some killer recipes. And we're gonna do a bunch of cooking stuff too, or talk about cooking stuff.
There you go.
So the strawberry cheesecake,
yes,
came out perfect, but my filling was too loose. The strawberry filling that I made, so the recipe called for corn, because Lori's like, we should have put cornstarch in it. And I'm like, I did fucking put cornstarch in it. And then I smacked the shit out of her. But she said, but no, I did. I put cornstarch in it, but the recipe. So I basically I took a blackberry recipe that I substituted strawberries for, and obviously I should have put more cornstarch in because the strawberries are a more watery fruit.
Yes.
Is the only thing I could figure what happened because I followed the recipe. Me and Put followed the recipe to the letter, and it came out, dude. Oh, tasted so good. I mean, we made strawberry whipped cream. We made our own homemade strawberry whipped cream for it. It was good. Now, so Lori wants to do a caramel cheesecake. Got a recipe for it.
Okay.
It's gonna have. Let's see. And then we were sitting there talking about that, and it's like, I think the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a cheesecake, just a plain cheesecake, and then we're just gonna get some different fruits like peaches and strawberries and stuff like that for it. So.
Oh, some fresh summer peaches too. Yeah.
But just like slice and put them on a mandolin and slice them thin and throw them in some sugar and then just put them on top. So that's my next project is doing that. And the other cool thing, so the other thing is like, and I sent you the picture. I'm getting to where we're pretty good at baking these things because the top's not breaking.
That's
I'm
good.
not getting any pressure across the top. So I'm pretty happy about that.
That is good. That's the trick. If you can bake it when they don't crack when it cools down.
Yeah, like I said, I'm giving myself a pat on the back and of course, got Pud with me, so I got my little helper.
It's all her. Just tell the truth. It's all her.
The chocolate one, dude, I'm gonna have to make a chocolate one again. So, because the chocolate one came out phenomenal. It was so good. Just saying. Anyway, all right, we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to definitely get into some recipes and deep dive into some cooking. But we're going to call it for this one. And I think we're up to this is episode 17. We've done 17 of these. Yeah, we've done 17 episodes. Pretty proud of that too. We're about to make a milestone of 20. Then we'll get to our silver anniversary of 25. Anyway, we're out of here. We'll see you next time. And until then,
don't miss the start of the hostilities, Bat fans. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel.